All glories to assembled deities, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled deities, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. जय श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय, नमस्ते नरसिंहाय, प्रहलाद दायिने प्रहलाद दायिने प्रहलाद हिरण्यकाशी गौर्वक्षः हिरण्यकाशी गौर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कनखलये शीलटङ्कनखलये शीलटङ्कितो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह इतो नरसिंह इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह इतो नरसिंह इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह इतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह यतो यतो हे यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह यतो यतो महे नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह महे नरसिंह महे नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह बहे नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह हे नरसिंह नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरे नाथम् अद्भुत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवदृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलवरे नाथा अद्भुत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवदृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। जय केशव त्रेता नर हरि रूपा, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। जय केशव त्रेता नर हरि रूपा हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश। जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव। जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद। गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। सर्वभक्ति विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, उत्तरशरण प्रहलाद महाराज की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, पिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। Now there will be the class on Bhagavad Gita in English language. So if you would like to hear that, please be seated in the temple hall. अभी भगवद गीता पे प्रवचन होगा अंग्रेजी में, तो कृपया करके यहाँ पर बैठे रहिए। थोड़ी देर में प्रवचन स्टार्ट होगा। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण। फाउंटेन बंद करेंगे। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नीताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद कलियुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text number 42. This is chapter entitled Karma Yoga. Text 42. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manah manasastu para buddhir yo buddhe paratastu saha. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The senses are different outlets for the activities of lust. Lust is reserved within the body, but it is given vent through the senses. Therefore, the senses are superior to the body as a whole. These outlets are not in use when there is superior consciousness or Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, the soul makes a direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the hierarchy of bodily functions, as described here, ultimately ends in the Supreme Soul. Bodily action means the functions of the senses, and stopping the senses means stopping all bodily actions. But since the mind is active, then even though the body may be silent and at rest, the mind will act as it does during dreaming. But above the mind is the determination of the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul proper. If therefore the soul is directly engaged with the Supreme, naturally all other subordinates, namely the intelligence, mind and senses, will be automatically engaged. In the Kathopanishad, there is a similar passage in which it is said that the objects of sense gratification are superior to the senses, and mind is superior to the sense objects. If therefore the mind is directly engaged in the service of the Lord constantly, then there is no chance that the senses will become engaged in other ways. This mental attitude has already been explained. Param drishtva nivartate. If the mind is engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no chance of its being engaged in the lower propensities. In the Kathopanishad, the soul has been described as Mahan, the great. Therefore, the soul is above all, namely the sense objects, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence. Therefore, directly understanding the constitutional position of the soul is the solution of the whole problem. With intelligence, one has to seek out the constitutional position of the soul and then engage the mind always in Krishna consciousness. That solves the whole problem. A neophyte spiritualist is generally advised to keep aloof from the objects of the senses. But aside from that, one has to strengthen the mind by use of intelligence. If by intelligence one engages one's mind in Krishna consciousness by complete surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then automatically the mind becomes stronger. And even though the senses are very strong, like serpents, they will be no more effective than serpents with broken fangs. But even though the soul is a master of intelligence and mind, and the senses also, still, unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna in Krishna consciousness, there is every chance of falling down due to the agitated mind. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion on the third chapter. Krishna is again talking about the hierarchy of body, mind, senses, intelligence. So in this verse it says, Indriyani paranyahur Indriyebhya param manah Manasastu para buddhir yo buddhe paratastu saha. Indriyani parani. Indriyas are para or above. Above whom? Above the sense objects. And Indriyebhya, above the senses, is param manaha, mind. And the mind is manasastu para. Beyond the mind or above the mind is buddhi. And beyond the buddhi, yo buddhe paratastu saha. Beyond the buddhi is the spirit soul. So sense objects, which is beyond the self, then senses, uske upar man, mind, uske upar intelligence, buddhi, and the spirit soul. This is the hierarchy. This discussion all began with Arjuna's question in verse number 36. We are on 42. In 36, Arjuna asks, what is the force? Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. What is the force that is pushing someone to commit sinful act, commit sin? Even though I don't want to commit sin, but there is some force inside me that is pushing me to commit sin. What is that force? That's how the discussion began, with Arjuna's question. And then Krishna begins to describe the whole science of getting addicted to addictions, and how addictions or lust covers one's intelligence. So in 37th verse, Krishna describes how there is an enemy within us. If someone is pushing you to commit sin, that means that person is your enemy. We usually identify enemies outside us. Ye, mera padosi, mere ghar wale. But Krishna says there is an enemy inside us. Who is that? Krishna says, Kama, lust. So he describes the identity of the enemy in verse number 37. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha. Mahashano mahapapma vidhyenam iha vairinam. Vairi means enemy. Know this kama esha and krodha esha. Lust and anger to be your Mahavairi, the biggest enemies. So, enemy has been identified inside us. Now, what does this enemy do? That is described in next verse, 38. What is the power of this enemy? How the enemy is all pervading. It has completely taken control of our existence. Dhumena vriyate vannir yathadarsho. How the enemy is at different degrees of control. That is described in verse number 38. And in 39, Krishna describes how the enemy has made a strategic plan to destroy us. Enemy also plans, and we never come to know the plan of the enemy. So similarly, the enemy has occupied strategic positions in verse number 39. And 39. 39. He says, Avratam jnanametena jnanino nitya vairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha. How the lust is like fire and it goes uncontrolled, and in this way we are destroyed. It covers our knowledge and our realization. Whatever realizations and experiences we have earned, that is covered over by this desire to enjoy. Avritam. Avritam means cover over. Then in the next verse, number 40, Krishna describes where is this enemy located. Within ourself, within our existence, there is exact position of the enemy. What is that? Krishna says, Indriyani mano buddhir asya adhishthana muchyate. Enemy ka adhishtan, location is Indriyani, Mano and Buddhi. In teen jagah par. Enemy is located. Therefore, one should attack these three places to destroy the enemy. And in verse number 41, Krishna says, therefore, one should be careful. One should set boundaries. Boundaries and other strategies to control this enemy or lust. By regulating the senses, one should destroy this enemy. Tasmat tvam indriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshabha. Papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. This enemy can destroy jnana and vijnana. Therefore, one should regulate the senses. Indriyani niyamya bharatarshabha. And in this way one can control. And in this verse, today's verse, Krishna says, gives the hierarchy. Which part of our body is superior to which part. So senses, sense objects, senses, mind, intelligence, and finally the soul proper. So in this way, if we know about ourselves nicely, then it is easier to tackle the enemy and fight the enemy. So, a conditioned living entity is under attack. Prabhupada gives a kind of military analysis of the structure of the body. People like to fight, people like to talk about war and defense. So similarly, Krishna is giving that kind of description. We are on a war. War with whom? War with Maya. And Maya has her agents in the form of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. So if we understand the nature of the enemy and how we are vulnerable, then we can understand how to fight the war. So in this verse, Krishna is giving a description of a comparative description of mind, intelligence and senses, sense organs, Indriyani, Mana and Buddhi, which is also a subject of study for modern scientists. Today is the age of AI, artificial intelligence. There is talk about how AI is taking control of everything, how people are losing jobs because of AI. And then there is talk about IQ, EQ, all those terminologies. So artificial intelligence, one of our devotees in IIT got a nice recognition. Our Gaur Hari Prabhu, he is described as one of the most influential proponents, advocates of AI, top 100 AI influencers. So AI is a growing field and most of us have started using it for our daily work. So AI has brought about a lot of changes in work, in education, in social dealings, in healthcare, many uses of artificial intelligence. And people say it is doing good. Although many fallouts of AI has also been experienced. But still, technology, when computer was first developed, then it was said that computer can take away all the jobs. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki. Computer will take away all jobs. One computer can do the job of 500 people or 10,000 people. So when computers were invented, developed and introduced, people had the fear. But then over a period of time, things became normal. Then internet came and many other technologies came. Again, the fear was it will take away a lot of jobs. But over a period of years, it got settled. So now again AI has come. And the fear is AI will take away all the jobs. It may last for some time and then things will again be back to normal. So technology, Prabhupada used to compare technology with a knife. A knife is good or bad. It depends on who is using it. A knife in the hand of a surgeon, a doctor, can give life to someone, give life to a patient. A knife in the hands of a robber can take away life. So knife is good or bad? Knife is neutral. Who is using it will decide knife is good or bad. Similarly, technology is good or bad? Depends on who is using it. So who is using it? How do you ensure that technology goes into the hands of a good person or someone who can use it nicely? How do you guarantee? We cannot guarantee that. But it is available to all and it can be purchased by all. So therefore, technology has to be accompanied with proper humanity. And the best form of humanity is spirituality. Without proper education on humanity and spirituality, the use of technology is going to create disaster, which is what we see nowadays. People have no training and education in the area of proper human dealings, proper character, proper ethics and morals. What is right, what is wrong? This education is missing. And directly they are given technology, use of technology. So technology is a powerful weapon. But if we don't know what is the right and wrong use of this technology, then we are like those dacoits and robbers who will use it for a selfish purpose and end up creating more harm than good. So therefore, technology should be accompanied by proper spiritual awareness, proper awareness of humanity. So AI, although we are fascinated by AI, chat GPT and other things, but AI cannot be replaced. AI cannot replace human intervention, human consciousness. AI cannot adapt itself to changing situations. AI, if you feed data to AI, then it can use. AI can play chess, AI can play video games, AI can guide so many things. But can AI replace humans completely? Somewhere a human touch is required. AI cannot tell you what is moral and immoral. What is good behavior, what is bad behavior. It has to be programmed. This is good and this is bad. But in a situation where the programming data is not fed to it, then can the AI decide this is right, this is wrong? Hitting someone is good or bad. That has to be fed, data has to be fed. Then it will say yes or no. Speaking a lie, can the AI decide automatically this is good or bad? That has to be fed. Now, in some situations, speaking a lie could be good. Speaking the truth can be bad. Can the AI decide automatically in which situation speaking a lie is good, speaking a lie is bad? So although AI is very attractive and fascinating, it cannot decide or it cannot answer moral questions, morality-based questions. And every time you need some individual, some human intervention to decide what is good and bad, what is right and wrong. So therefore, AI can be best used when it is used along with EI. What is EI? Emotional intelligence. And even better, when it is used with spiritual intelligence. SI, if there is such a term. Is there a term? SI? We will invent it. SI. EI and SI. Spiritual intelligence. So, we know about IQ. IQ measures the intelligence quotient. But then nowadays people talk about EQ also. Emotional quotient. So IQ talks about how much intelligence you have to clear a competitive exam, how much intelligence you have to play a game, awareness, how much ability you have to analyze things, calculate mathematical calculations. IQ talks about that. And EQ talks about how good you are in relationships, how much you can relate with other people, connect with other people, understand and be sympathetic with other people, and relate with them accordingly. Emotional quotient. And they say nowadays that your promotion or your growth in a company hardly depends, 10% depends on your IQ. It mostly depends on your ability to relate with people, your relationship dynamics, which is kind of EQ. Whether you can get along in a team, whether you can be sensitive to other people. This is, they say, what matters more than your skill sets. Skill sets can be acquired by training. But EQ, that is not so easy to acquire. But even EQ is not enough. IQ is good, EQ you have, that is still better. But the Shastra, the Gita, highlights about SQ, spiritual quotient, which is what? Your ability to connect with the divine, with God. If that is missing, IQ and EQ will fall short. So spiritual quotient is the most important thing. How much are we connected with the deeper realities of this world, of the universe, of life, the deepest questions about life? Are we in tune with those principles? If that is missing, then everything else we may have, but then still it is not enough. Prabhupada used to compare it with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, multiple zeros, but the one is missing. One means you add all zeros, it is still 0. You keep 1, then the zeros have value. 10, 100, 1,000, million. So similarly, if spiritual quotient is missing, it's like missing the 1. The 1 is not yet added. And the moment we understand what Krishna is teaching in the Gita, which is essentially spiritual instructions, then it is like adding the 1. So spiritual quotient means, one meaning of spiritual quotient is how we seek everything to be run by a conscious being. We are so accustomed to using machines and devices that we think everything is machine. And we start treating even human beings like machines. But Shastra or Scripture teaches us that everything is conscious. There is consciousness driving everything. Not just living beings who are moving, and not just animals. Modern culture teaches that only humans have life. We treat animals like objects. We kill animals for our food because we think their life is not important. And now the situation is becoming even worse. Even human beings are treated like objects. If it is helping me, if someone is helping me, then I treat him respectfully. If someone is not helping me, then I treat that person as an object. So as time passes by, as Kali Yuga progresses, everything is dehumanized, or we cut off the conscious element and we start treating everything as objects, lifeless. But when we develop SQ, spiritual quotient, we start treating not only living beings as living beings, but even dead things, we start seeing them consciously, with consciousness. For example, we start treating the world, earth, as a conscious being. Scripture describes earth as Bhumi Devi. It's a person. Bhu Devi is a person. If you go to South Indian temples, they have Bhu Devi, Shri Devi, and middle there is Lord Vishnu. Personified earth is worshipped. So earth is a being, conscious being, not just a lump of matter, spherical shape, which is supplying, which is unlimited resources, which we can exploit, extract all metals and everything, petroleum, gold, everything. It is not just a dead object. Bhu Devi is a person, feminine being. Similarly, the universe is described as a person. There is Virat Purush. It's a person. Krishna showed the Virat Rupa to Arjuna in the Gita. How the universe is a conscious being. There is consciousness, just like our body has consciousness. When we prick somewhere, we feel pain, right? Because there is jaan hai iske andar. Similarly, when we do something wrong to the earth or in the universe, the person feels pain. So, becoming aware of these things is development of SQ, spiritual quotient. So, energies like Lord Vishnu has 16, 8, 4, 8, 16 weapons. Each weapon has a name. Sudarshan, Chakra, Gada, Kaumodaki, Gada. Sharanga Dhanva, the weapon bow is Sharanga. And then Padma. Then other weapons. Everyone has a name, which means there is a person. The Vedic scriptures are personified. Rik, Sama, Yajur, Atharva, Vedas. They have personified forms. There is a chapter in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prayers by the personified Vedas. So these Vedic scriptures, they have personified form. They are offering prayers to Krishna. Not the imaginary. It's not imagined forms. Personified forms. So Bhumi Devi is not imagination. कुछ लोग आ गए, Hindu वाले लोग आ गए, and then they imagined Bhumi is a person. Not like that. Not in imagination. A person. Real person. The 10th canto describes how Bhumi Devi, in the beginning, went to Lord Brahma, who then went to Lord Vishnu, praying, the earth is overburdened by asuras, demonic forces. And I am pained. So please descend, come as an avatar, and please destroy these demonic forces. It's not imagination. Bhumi Devi personified form goes and prays. So it's all real. Otherwise we start thinking it is fictional. So similarly, every energy, every material element has our conscious energies, which may not be visible to us, but they are conscious forces and they act and they can be guided. We can get access to them, we can pray to them, we can take advantage of their blessings. So similarly, understanding all these things, becoming aware of these truths is the development of SQ, spiritual quotient. Without this, simply developing IQ and EQ is not enough. So when we develop IQ, it helps us in our success-seeking abilities. It answers the what questions. What to do, what is this, what is that? This tendency, this desire is fulfilled with the help of IQ, intelligence quotient. I want to know what are the phenomena of nature. When we develop EQ, we develop our social connectivity, social dealings. It helps us improve that. But when we develop spiritual quotient, it improves our connection with the divine. So there is a horizontal connectivity between all living beings, all human beings. And we also have a vertical relationship with the superior forces, especially with God, with Krishna. If we develop only one at the cost of the other, then we remain incomplete. So all are important. And in today's times, we don't pay attention to this SQ. We don't pay attention even to EQ, which is even more unfortunate. So IQ helps us in answering the what questions, EQ helps us in answering the how questions, and SQ helps us in answering the why questions. Why things exist in the first place? Why do I exist? Where have we learned all these things? Why do I exist? We know I exist, and we are forced to think that my goal of life is to acquire things and enjoy things. Acquire and accumulate as many things as possible and enjoy those things as much as possible. We never asked why. Although we see that people who have acquired and accumulated things are not happy, oftentimes frustrated, we continue to continue to walk the same path. Acquire, consume, and then frustrate ourselves. So why questions? Why do I exist? Why does the universe exist? Is there any ultimate reason behind the existence of life in this world? Why was this world created? Why does such a wide variety of life exist? Why there are so many species of life? We were taught Darwin's theory of evolution. How life evolved. Why life evolved? That answer we never got. Even the theory of evolution, that itself is a big debatable question. Assuming it is right. Why did life evolve? All these questions are never answered. And we are never encouraged to ask this question. If someone asks this question, we don't get an answer. So in this way, science teaches us how to do things better. But spirituality teaches us how to do better things. What are the better things? Science can improve the conditions of matter. Spirituality helps us answer what really matters. Which things to focus upon. Science will tell us how we can improve the efficiency of the things. But spirituality tells us what are the real things that can make our life efficient. So in this way, in this verse of the Gita, Krishna is talking about giving us an analytical structure of our identity. It is not just the body. It is not just the body and mind. What we see is the body only. But within the body there is the mind, which modern psychologists are trying to understand. But the Gita is talking about beyond the body, beyond the mind, there is consciousness, spirit, which is the real life. The body and mind are simply external covering, which we are going to lose one day. The body will be taken away, mind will be taken away. But the spirit, soul, or the spark of consciousness is what really matters. That is what we really are. But we spend our whole life pampering the body, decorating the body, giving pleasure to the body, and ignoring the spirit. So Krishna says, Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya paramana manasastu para buddhir yo buddhe paratostu saha. Saha is the main thing. Everything else is a covering, external. So unless we give attention to our spiritual needs, till then we can never be happy. So in this way, Krishna is telling us how to tackle the enemy of lust, anger and greed. All these things are situated in our mind, our intelligence, and our senses. So senses, how to deal with the enemy residing in the senses? By setting boundaries. Senses need boundaries. Don't cross this boundary. We have to put barriers. How can we tackle the enemy sitting in the intelligence? By giving them spiritual awareness, spiritual understanding, spiritual knowledge. By knowing this is right, this is wrong, this is dangerous, this is harmful, this is harmless. When this knowledge is given to the intelligence, then the intelligence will direct the mind and the senses. You cannot go beyond this. This is okay, this is risky, this is dangerous. Avoid. That's what Krishna describes in the next verse. So in this way, if we learn the various levels of our existence, mind deals with emotions, intelligence talks about analysis, and spirit soul deals with our connection with the divine. All existence, all levels of existence are important. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam we find the story of Ajamila, which we all know, story of Ajamila. We know only the story of Ajamila where he fell down and associated with a prostitute and he led a sinful life, and somehow in the end he chanted the name of Narayan. That story is well known. But before he became a victim of lust, the Bhagavatam describes how he was a very nice person. One of the most cultured, refined, and well-behaved gentleman. How can such a person become the most sinful person? How? Because of the enemy called lust. So what was Ajamila's qualities in the beginning? The Bhagavatam says, Ayam hi shruta sampanna shila vritta gunalayaha dhritavrato madhur danta satyavang mantra vichuchihi gurvagnyatiti vriddhanam shushrushur anahankritaha sarva bhuta suhrit sadhur mitavak anasuyakaha. 8 lines describing the good qualities of Ajamila. Now if you listen to this, we'll say, how can this person become like this? So, in the beginning, this Brahman named Ajamila studied all the Vedic literatures. Shruta Sampanna. He was well knowledgeable. Well knowledgeable means he knew what is right and what is wrong. He was educated in proper ethical, moral principles, spiritual principles. Shruta Sampanna. Shila Vritta. Gunalayaha. A reservoir of the best qualities. Shila Vritta Gunalaya. By looking at that person, we can understand the person is cultured, well behaved, all gentlemanly qualities. Then, good conduct and good qualities, firmly established in executing all Vedic injunctions. He was very mild and gentle. And he kept his mind and senses under control. Ajamila. Mind and senses under control. Furthermore, he was always truthful. Satyavang means truthful. Always truthful. He knew how to chant the Vedic mantras, and he was also very pure. Pure in actions, pure in words, pure in thought. Ajamila was very respectful to his superior spiritual master, the fire god, guests, and the elderly members of the family. Indeed, he was free from false prestige. He was upright, benevolent to all living entities, and well behaved. He would never speak nonsense or he would envy anyone. These are the qualities of Ajamil. And later what happened? 180-degree opposite. He got attracted to this prostitute. He married her and then he drove away his wife, he drove away his elderly parents, and he led such a sinful life, committing all kinds of crimes. And then we can't believe ऐसा आदमी ऐसा हो सकता है. But this is the danger of the power of lust and greed and anger, which is what Arjun is asking in the beginning. What is the force inside us that is pushing us to commit sin? That invisible force. It was there in Ajamil also. If Ajamil can go to such an extent, we can go to far bigger extent. Hopefully we won't. But it can happen. The risk is there. So these examples, the stories are narrated in the Bhagavatam to show how risky it is. If Ajamil can go to such an extent, anyone can go to that extent. So in this way, Krishna in the next verse describes how evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum. Jahi means conquer, win over shatru. Jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Arjun, you should conquer this great enemy known as kamarupam durasadam, which is very difficult to conquer. So in this way the chapter ends with the next verse. And then Krishna then describes how the knowledge of Gita was first imparted to Vivaswan long back. Same knowledge, Krishna is saying, I am imparting to you, Arjun. What I had imparted to Vivaswan long back is the same knowledge I am giving you. Nothing new. So in this way, Krishna concludes this. So we'll stop here. Anyone has any comments or questions? Sita Pragya. Pragya is intelligence, right? So in that sense, it has an IQ element, but it has an SQ element also, because real intelligence can be sthita only if it is connected with scripture, with Krishna. Otherwise, all other intelligence fixed on material things cannot be sthita, because things are changing in this world. Only when it is connected to Krishna or God and scripture, then it can be sthita in the true sense of the term. Is that okay? Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Amala means pure. Ajamala means Ajamala also you can say Ajamila. Like the story of the metaphorically, how we come in contact with Maya and it Hare Krishna. In 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Saraswati Deva Guruvani Pracharani Dare Vishesha Shanyavati Paschata Desh Tarani. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. बोलिए Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Once you praise that, now I can't. If I do something, you get angry. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama